tournament has begun here. We're doing some preliminary, just a duels to start this thing up, to kind of get everybody warmed up. We have Anivia all the way from the Rift versus Proteus here. The Fairy Fire goes down onto the Paladin, but that two-handed hammer's thwacking away at the Druid. The Druid puts the stun off with the bash, shifts out of bear form, goes to rejuve himself, regrowth as well, puts the bark skin on, tries to heal himself again, going for the fake cast. The Hodge is going to come down. Paladin close the gap, and they don't even need the Hammer of Wrath. They get some big damage from that two-handed weapon, potentially some procs as well. You gotta appreciate that raw potential burst of that weapon, and good on them for getting the Hodge out of the bear form. Trying to pierce through the hide of the bear by just getting him out of druidic form, and that's a huge deal in any druid versus anyone matchup, especially physical DPS, because that armor is an addition to the the sturdy health pool. All right, we have awesome. We have Warrior versus Druid. This Warrior has his work cut out for him, though. He is Fury. He's got some leather on, so just some mauls and basic attacks are going to do a lot of damage to him. He does not have a tremendous amount of armor to mitigate a lot of this physical damage coming out. He tries to break the distance, maybe to try to bandage up, maybe after he, but the bear charges right back in. He still has that charge. He still has the potential batch as well. Honestly, that Warrior's getting him really close. I think that came down, the Druid was like, I know I can't bear form. I'm confident I can kill you before you kill me. I'm not even going to risk shifting out and healing myself up, getting caught out. There is a rematch over here, Anivia and Proteus. Once again, he gets the Hodge. He's good with timing his Hodges. He waits for that perfect moment when the Druid shifts out to try to heal himself up, which is an inevitability. It's something that's going to happen. They have to heal himself up, but he's saving the Hodge for that very moment, not wasting it when they're in Druidic form to try to get the most out of it. Put as much damage as possible when the Druid is unshifted. That's a good way to handle the Druid matchup. Here we have Aether, potentially Aether versus Proteus. Yes! Good save, friend. Oh, this one's already started. It's Rogue versus Rogue. So Falarian versus Turn here. There is going to be evasion coming out here, but he gets the stun off regardless. Now, if that stun, he might have been on the side of him when he put that stun, so it was less likely, maybe even behind. But it seemed as though he was I thought he was in front of him, and it's really nice that didn't miss, even though evasion was up. There's always that possibility. What's going on here? Oh, the duel. Oh, the charge comes down, and he charges through the trap and is going to get frozen regardless. The Lutro is going to break the distance here. He puts another trap to be safe. Pops out the big aim shot, the multi afterwards, and the poor Warrior gets melted. And that's one of those. I saw some really neat clips of it as well, just showcasing the importance of armor on a Warrior in those matchups. Does anyone need any help over there? Thanks for the follow, mate. The importance of armor in that matchup, it's tremendous. You get critically struck so much more when you're not thick and sturdy. And it was pretty neat. It was like an AV clip of this hunter kind of, it was a compilation of him kind of bursting down warriors that were, in Devil Sword and other things. And obviously you have available to you what you have available. But I just like that we can showcase that, let's see how much the aimed multi hits for this, right, or for Wiggle right here. Wiggle is caught in a trap. There's not really anything you can do about it. Wouldn't it be interesting if there was a physical reflector? It'd actually be pretty nice. The grenade is going to go down onto the hunter here. The net as well. He wants to win this one, and it didn't backfire as well. That's a huge risk. Wiggle might still have the wing, the escape artist. I'm not sure, but he does decide to intercept in there. The Feign Death Trap. Feign Death Trap comes out after the scatter shot, and Wiggle's caught again. The hunter doesn't even feel the need to. He doesn't feel pressured enough to break full distance. He knows that just a multi and auto are nearly enough to do it. Ooh, he did close the distance. The hamstring comes out. Intimidating shot does as well. He's in the hunter's dead zone. If he had any form of healing right now, he might be set, but I think he might have used his whipper already and or a potion potentially. The hunter just backs away, gets a clean auto shot in, and is able to finish him off. Well, in this fight we have Aether. Oh no, dude! No, fuck, man. Aether versus Anivia here. This is a hard matchup for the mage, and depending on their spec, this can be a really hard matchup for the mage. They shift into bear form here, soak some of these frostbolt damage. But here's the thing: if this is a deep frost mage, which it probably is, thank you. If this is a deep frost mage, which it very likely probably is, it's a lot harder. No, it actually we have some fire. We have fire damage. We we have fire damage from the mage, which is like you like to see. I think the fire damage, fire mage actually does much better against druids, to be honest with you. And we did see ignite, so minimally they're an ignite spec. Oh, the freezing brand proc comes out on the druid. Full frostbolt comes down, getting him a little bit lower. They try to regrowth themselves. The fire blast is enough to finish him off. There's a lot of debate in the community about the freezing band and its merits. Is it something you want to run? Do you want the raw stats from the ring? And I love running that ring when you can. I really do. I know it's not the same stat value, and you love to have the stats, especially versus the casters and whatnot, but if I can use that freezing band and versus the melees, I will. I think it's a lot of fun. I love that that potential. The potential to I'm gonna put my combat log here. Just the raw potential to kind of outright win the duel with that proc. Some folks don't like the win gratification when that comes. Some do, some don't. I do. And when it procs, man, I'm feeling giddy. I'm a big fan of it. I'm just gonna make my way to the city light. Death Coil coming out from Zella here. Curses up their opponent. Kind of almost getting feared in an unfortunate direction, not allowing Zealots really Shadow Bolt. That's not exactly what you want. Like, a full fear is awesome, but you'd love to just be able to do something while they're feared. You love when they hover around this distance. You know, that's always the worst when that happens to you. They charge in. Oh, they try to heal themselves, but they get seduced. Can they heal themselves back up? Grenade doesn't land. They have to Shadow Burn. It connects, finishes off the Druid before they can heal themselves back up. One of the Warlock actually has a surprising amount of bursts, and I'm sure y'all have felt the sting of this one time or another. But when they Death Coil and then follow it up with a Shadow Burn, and heaven forbid if they get a Nightfall proc, if they are that particular spec, they actually have a large amount of bursts. I was feeling the sting of that last night, and it comes down to some it's one of those where sometimes the Death Coil and the Shadow Burn hit for such a large amount of damage that you end up needing to almost reset due to that raw damage and sustain that they have. In some cases, you can't. You need to reset it. You can't keep up with the not only the output that they have, but let's say they use a potion and a health stone, and it's just like help. Looks like the event is beginning here. Welcome one, welcome all to the Grobulous Dueling event, featuring Hejong from Sundered and Doc from Executies. Some of the first Thunderfury wielders on the server, if not the first. I know Hejong was the first on the Alliance to get it. I'm honored to be here today. It's going to be I believe a best of 3, but we'll find out. Doc is a server first Thunderfury. He very well could be. I think the Horde might have gotten it first. And the duel has begun. The charges come out as both players open up on one another. I can hide in a turtle. There's the Thunderfury proc from Hejong onto Doc right there. Hejong has a little bit more damage, and you gotta wonder if sometimes that comes down to just more Thunderfury procs with this Chain Lightning zapping at his opponent. The concussive blow comes down onto Doc. He's getting very low. He's going to need to pull something out of his bum here, or just a lot of Thunderfury damage needs to happen if he wants to bring this one home. Both players just trading blows right now. Doc, he feels like more Thunderfury procs have been on Doc than Hejong this time around. So you gotta figure that's more zaps. It felt like there was 100% uptime on that tornado. But you're seeing that same thing actually on our human the human opponent. it's the same case where that tornado was zooming around him at all times. So it might have came down to just a lot of DPS coming out when the concussive blow came out. It might have came down to potentially a spec differential. If I'll almost have to ask these players, but if Hejong is running a full prospect, which I know he is, and we saw the concussive blow, so that almost shows that right there. And could that make the difference as well? Hejong is full prot, and Doc is Fury prot. Thank you very much, Handsome. And you got to wonder sometimes, that appreciate that information, if that might be a determining factor as well. We're going to see that another match here. Either player can win this. It's going to have both players charge. Hejong actually gets the charge right now. Going for the Sunder play, putting some Sunders down onto Doc. 1 Sunder, 2 Sunder are now landed. 3 Sunders, so that armor is starting to get peeled away just a little bit. Doc gets a Thunderfury proc, and the tornadoes are going wild right now. It is just a windswept battle, and the storm has landed in Drobulus, and it is a fierce one. Both players at about the same HP. Doc has that enraged, so he's doing extra damage. Hejong making sure to get that shield block up. But the Thunderfury proc is still on him, though. The tornadoes are flying. It feels like 100% uptime. Both players put 5 stacks of Sundered down. The concussive blow going down onto Doc, letting Hejong get some free damage down on him. If he gets an execute range, that's what I get scared of. Can we see if there's any sort of last stand, if there's any sort of mitigation? This is the time to use it. The demoralizing roar goes down onto Hejong, trying to mitigate some of that damage. I don't even know if the second duel goes to Hejong. You know, you gotta appreciate the raw tankiness of the full prot build, and it's harder to sometimes, from a rating perspective, the Fury prot, you're holding so much more threat, and I think it makes even more sense on Horde because they don't have things like Blessing of Salvation. So Fury prot, I think, is even more desirable on Horde side than Alliance, just because of that. You have to cause the extra threat. You have to hold it, because that's a speed run at the end of the day. And I'm almost happy. I'm almost glad that they are those different specs to kind of showcase that. And if that's the best out of 3, Hejong would be taking home the title of the Thunderlord. Excellent screenshot. Hail. Hail, champion. But Doc is ready for more. He might be going with a dual wield setup, perhaps. Maybe he's going to try something different. I believe he was using a shield last time, but I'm not exactly sure. That another duel is going to start here. He's going with the dual wield approach. We're seeing right when this starts, though, Hejong is smart about popping that shield block. He wants to mitigate some of that damage. Doc, he's going to be a little bit squishier because he is going with this dual wield approach. I didn't know if that was the case previous times or not. Here go the Sunders, though. The first Sunder goes down on Hejong. The fourth one down on a Doc. So already the hide, the armor of Doc is already being stripped away by that Sunder. You just see how sturdy, almost shockingly sturdy, the prot is. It's crazy. We saw it with some of the other melees that he dueled in the previous dueling event as well. How much that tree really provides in terms of mitigation. And honestly, I almost think the sword and board worked a little bit better just to prevent some of the raw damage. Absolutely a surprise. I would have had no idea going into it which would have had the edge, a Fury prot or a prot. My thought would have been, I would have probably thought Fury prot to really damage their opponent, because on paper you think, at least I've always thought, oh, prot, I'm not scared. This is a prot warrior. I'm not scared of a prot warrior, and I maybe would still feel that same way with the mage. But once that prot warrior reaches a certain threshold, and especially if you are a melee or physical damage dealer, that starts to get a lot scarier. It's hard. There's so much mitigation, not only in raw armor, but all the different things they have, potentially even the defense, just from others. They probably have so much defense at that point, just from their gear. They might not have it from the tree, but then they have other things in the tree like concussive blow and revenge proccing suns, and yeah, these things don't feel bad. They don't feel that potent on paper from an ungeared prop, but once they do get that high level of gear, once they do have, especially things like a Thunderfury or something else with very high one-handed weapon damage with a strong proc, that's when I think they become a lot scarier, especially for those that are melee or physical damage dealers. I think Hejong will be crowned our Thunderfury champion for the day. I don't think that would ever get old for me. Seeing a TH in action, especially in a dueling setting, it's pretty rare. Even on PvP Henhouse, where we could get like any gear we wanted. The exception was things like, you know, Thunderfury and certain legendaries, and I think some Nax gear was excluded as well. But for the most part, it's like you could gear your character the way you wanted to. But even then, I didn't really have the opportunity to cast tools between, you know, for a Thunderfury user. I'd love to see one on a rogue. I would love if we get one on. I want to see it happen. And it will, I'm sure, as time progresses and more Thunderfuries get handed out. I'd love to see that on a rogue. Okay, there he's going again. He is going again. Doc, determined as ever, he wants to take this. He pops the Berserking. The Enrage is procced, so now he is going to be able to do a little bit more damage right now. You're seeing all these tools at his disposal here, but is it going to be enough? He's at a half HP. If he gets the zap, man, I would love to see the damage meters to see how much of this damage ends up coming from the zaps. Because it feels like sometimes that's half the damage. Sure, you have your Sunders down. Hejong's been really good about just gritting the full Sunder down. The 5 stacks of Sunder, that's his priority has been the shield block and then 5 stacks of Sunder. Shield block, 5 stacks of Sunder. And then I've even seen in it where, you know, that's that. If I got 5 stacks of Sunder, okay, now concussive blow. Now I try to get behind you and kind of try to get these free hits in type thing. That's when you're going to get the bulk of your damage in a lot of cases. You know, I've got so much respect for the dagger rogues out there that have those big boy daggers from from raids, and then they have their tier gear and they do tons of damage. But boy, would I love to see like just a hemorrhage spec or something with a Thunderfury at some point with the swords. I think we will someday. It'll probably just be a matter of time. But I look forward to that day. Because you see how much power it brings to a warrior. You almost feel like it might be even more of a power spike on a rogue who inherently, on average, is a more potent dueler than the warrior versus most matchups. Interestingly, I think rogue in a rogue versus warrior matchup, there's a lot of those cases where warrior has the edge. They're very sturdy. They can sword and board. They can trade cooldown for cooldown. They soak the damage from the rogue more easily than a lot of their classes do. They have tools like disarm that can really mess up the rogue in an untimely situation for them. It is one of those where I think warrior does have the edge. In one of the, I think that's the only matchup, you know, warrior has the edge. But I do think that that's one that they feel more comfortable with than certain other matchups, especially that of, like, say, a warrior mage or something of that nature. Is he actually going for it? Get him, Doc. Yeah, thanks for coming, Sundered. Forever's dipping now. Much love, my fellow Alliance. Doc putting down the pain. He's like, all right, if you want to fight. Oh no, Turtle, no. Oh, what was that? That was like the attack power trinket almost like went across the screen like lightning there. Did he actually die? The poor chap. We need a medic. Poor Doc, man. Poor Doc. Hejong catching him off guard just a little bit there. Charges in, he's like, I'm going to take my opportunity. That Torque, it was fun. I love doing stuff like this. I'm always game. I'm always game. Oh, barely saved me. Okay, we have some more. Let's cast some duels, friends. All right, so we have potentially Warrior versus Warlock. I think it's a meme battle. We're just going for the melees. Man, you got that Azure Ghost Mage Blade though, mate. That thing can actually pop. Like, I'm not, like, the weapon damage, it adds up, man. Like, there's a lot of merit, especially if you're It's something I don't do enough these days. Wand melee. And when you have those potent weapons, like the Mage Blade or the Source Dagger, something that attacks really fast, it's fun to see that in action. Okay, we have Hejong versus Zella here. He closed the distance again, but those fears are adding up. That dot damage is ticking away. This is, I think, the problem. This is the struggle, I think, with the war. Okay, because he closed gap. If he can avoid fears, if he can interrupt this school of magic, Concussive Blow comes down, he stops the life drain. This is his opportunity. Oh, so much damage was coming out. He got out of the death coil, he got out of the fear, he closed the distance, he put the hamstring down, and he started doing a lot of DPS. But it was just too little too late. That's sometimes what the Warlocks can do, is they can just out-pressure you right off the gates with death coil, fear, dots, shadow bolt, shadow burn. Boom, you just feel so vulnerable at that point. For as a mage, sometimes I have to just reset. I'm too pressured at that point. And you saw that's probably the one danger. Oh, this is the case with any melee, of course, but where the power spike of something like Thunderfury is probably more noticeable versus melees than it is versus casters, because casters are doing what casters do and casters kite you. Okay, here we go. We have Hejong versus our Druidic friend. Anivia going with the Barkskin right away, utilizing the Entangling Roots, puts the Fairy Fire onto Hejong. He trinkets out of it immediately, goes the distance with the Druid. There's Sunders coming down. Thunderfury proc comes down as he zaps the bear, but it's not doing a lot. They still have plenty of health, but they did have that regrowth on him as well, so they were healing up. They have the full stacks of Sunder at this point. The Demoralizing Roar as well comes down, mitigating some of the damage from this Druid. Both of these players are very sturdy. Both these players are soaking damage really well right now. Regardless of the Sunder stacks on him, it's still taking a while for him to pierce through the hide. The Revenge proc comes out, which is what he wants to see. He wants to see as many of those as possible. There's a chance you're going to see a diminishing return on the Suns if he gets enough of those procs, and then he Okay, he's out of Druidic form. Can we get the Concussive Blow? He does. He waits till the Druid is out of Druidic form. He throws down the Concussive Blow. We're not going to see a Nature Swiftness, but instantly the Druid goes back into bear form, tries to mitigate some of this damage. They need to force themselves out. They try to heal. No Fake Cast comes out. The Interrupt gets hit, and he is going to finish this one off. And Nivea, playing for their win condition, trying to heal himself up, trying to stick in bear form as much as possible, but Hejong waiting for those two key moments, waiting for the Druid to shift out to heal himself, throwing down the Concussive Blow, knowing that he had his opponent low enough, not needing to worry about a Fake Cast, can confidently hit the pummel on the first cast, and it's a good duel. Doc and our Horde friends, thanks for joining us. If anybody was in the chat tonight, the double charge comes out. I don't even know if you can call batching. That happened on private servers too all the time. The double charge from Warriors was something I was very used to seeing, actually, as we have Nothing Man versus Hejong. Nothing Man doing an alright amount of damage, but not enough. Hejong being very good about getting those Sunder stacks up, the hamstrings on his opponent. They're not going to be getting away. They're not really looking to, because they are dual wielding. But a swift win. Missed a, very nice. I don't know if I've seen that axe just yet. Not an axe you see a lot, at least not right away, just from VWL. How did he die? Oh, dots. Oh, no. We're not going to have a res. My poor Horde friend. My poor rogue. My poor warrior friend. Brave, man. Oh, no. The walk back is one of the worst out here. Turn versus Hejong. I'm able to catch the beginning of this duel. Let's see where it goes here. Turn. I know he does a lot of damage. He has good gear. He has the raid gear that he needs and the daggers, but to penetrate the thick hide of the Prot Warrior is going to be a challenge for him, getting very low in executable range, and he will finish him off. But now we have the Mage Druid matchup here in Ignite Barrier spec, one that I really liked for PvP, and it's probably better for Druid than Improved Counterspell because that Ignite damage really adds up. You might have some more other fire skills, maybe like the Improved Scorch or the Ignite really helps versus the Druid. Druid trying to get out of range here if the Mage doesn't have Blink yet, which I don't think they do. The Druid might be able to swiftly shift out. He goes back into bear form, he charges, gets Frost Nova, shifts out of it immediately. Cold Fade Away is enough to finish him off. Here we have another duel potentially with a Priest friend happening. Oh, here, even better. Paladin versus Warrior. We're catching it midway through. The Paladin is going to bubble himself up. The Succubus is beating on them here. I'm going to run through the mobs. Turtle. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, 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 no. Oh, no, no. I love the extra little bit. Zella actually taking the time to throw down a dot too. All the homies coming out here. Zella does get this is where the Succubus can come in handy. They can seduce their opponent and put full Shadow Bolts down onto their opponents. And then you can see he's just putting everything. Immolate, Corruption, Agony. And then Repentance comes out. The Paladin heals himself back up. There's not going to be room for a Fear or anything of that nature. He's just getting ticked away by the Agony. Can't get rid of that. Can't decurse himself. And he does die to the Shadow Burn. No more cooldowns available to him. Well played by both players. It's one of those where there's a lot of merit to things like the Fell Hunter and Voidwalker at certain times with the Warlock. But I always love when you see good Succubus play. Choosing those opportunities to not dot your opponent. Choosing those opportunities to seduce when that player has to make a hard decision. Do I kill the pet? Do I interrupt the pet and CC the player, kill the pet? How I've been trying to deal with Warlocks these days is, especially if I get the jump on them, I will CC the Warlock and kill the Succubus. Well, I'm a mage. I can do that. And then I silence the Succubus and kill them because they're super squishy. Not everybody has that opportunity. Not everybody can do that. That's my solution, but not everybody's. Maybe I'm just spitballing here because I have no idea what the best way to handle it would be. Maybe a Repentance on the. I'm just thinking out loud, but maybe a Repentance on Zella and then killing the Succubus. But the Succubus is invis. That might not be an option. You know, especially if the Warlock. Let's see, it becomes a mind game at that point. Let's say the Warlock then. It learns that you're doing this, and then they plant their pet somewhere else before they start the duel. It's so hard to guarantee that. Like, the same case for me, even, really, in hindsight. He puts the Hodge down onto Zella here, puts some damage out from behind Giggity. The Zella down to about half HP, uses that Hellstone out. The Death Coil heals himself up just a little bit. Succubus goes and seduces, the Immolation comes down. There is everything. The Curse of Agony, the Shadow Bolt, Shadow Burn, and it's just burst. That's what I've had. You gotta be careful with those Warlocks or that happens. Not that he necessarily could have outplayed that. If there's no bubble, there is no outplay to that. But sometimes I found with those Warlocks, man, when they get their raw bursts out and they're able to seduce you and put down a Shadow Bolt, and then Agony, Corruption, Immolate, everything, and then meanwhile they're running to Narnia, and you have to sit there trying to run at them, and then they Shadow Burn you. Sometimes it's just over. As a mage, I've just got to sometimes reset. No shame, baby. I reset all day. Like, I have no shame. The other day I was dueling someone I had found in the world, and they were like, "You had to run when you jumped me." I'm like, "Hey, mate, I'll reset all day, even if I initiate that shit. That's my name in my game. I'm a loosey-goosey mage, and I will sheep and blink away if I need to assure that victory. I'm not gonna sit there and, just take the lose. Hell no, baby." Hejong wants some revenge here on Zella. He goes for the early stun, the early concussive blow. Zella down to half HP. Holy shit. They Voidwalker sacrifice, but instantly it's going to be burned through. And Hejong is taking the upper hand. You love to see it win. Okay, here's the thing. He probably didn't have Death Coil because he just dueled somebody. But when the Warrior can close the distance with the Warlock, especially with a potent weapon, that's when things get fucking scary. He whipped through the Voidwalker. He ripped through everything. Obviously, there wasn't certain tools for the Warlock, but I almost love that was showcased, just because that's the win condition for this powerful Warrior. Outlasting that bit of burst potential and fear potential, CC potential from the beginning, from the start of the fight, from the Warlock, the Death Coil, the fear, get past that, and then at that point it's like, okay, that would be a mind game with the Warrior that I haven't experienced. I know I'm gonna get Death Coil. Do I sit in Berserker's Stance so that I can Berserker's Rage, the fear, because it's inevitably coming after the Death Coil? That's risky. I'm taking extra damage. I don't know how to deal with that. That doesn't sound particularly fun. They might have the tool to deal with fears in the form of Berserker Rage on a consistent basis, but what, do you camp it and risk taking out that extra damage? Turn, getting absolutely decimated at the start of the duel. The Gouge comes down. Seduce is going to connect. Does he has Immolate. That might have saved him. He has the sprint. He needs to close the distance. He puts the full kidney shot down onto Zella. Tries to open back up onto him, but they're very low right now. They need to burst him down, and there just wasn't enough damage in their toolkit to deal with that. There was too much burst right at the beginning with that death coil, dots, etc. It was a close duel, and sometimes you see it where in a matter of seconds, the rogue can end it. They'll get those combo points back up, and right after the kidney shot, they blow then the eviscerate as well by building up again, but there just wasn't quite enough time. You have Ravka versus Proteus here. Both players at reasonable amounts of HP. Proteus has a Shadow Word Pain and almost fully consumed him, so that is a lot of extra damage, potentially worth dispelling, potentially just better to DPS and burst down your opponent. Either way, the Hodge is going to get trinketed immediately. The Priest tries to heal himself back up. Red doesn't have a lot of options for interrupt, so he's got to choose when to utilize those. He actually goes for the Repentance now. He wants to heal himself back up. He opens right back up onto Revka here. They power word shield himself. We're going to see if... Oh, Wiggle coming out strong here. Thanks, buddy. The Paladin is doing well right now. They don't have Fodge. They don't have Repentance. They're not really in a position to stop these heals unless they get, unless they have a grenade left in their arsenal. No heal comes down, but they do have the Renew ticking. They're cycling that power word shield. They're back up to half HP. But there's the big hit, and if he's in Hammer of Wrath range, but he doesn't even need it. A big swing of the two-handed mace is going to be enough to finish him off, and doesn't end up needing that the execute that is available to them. Good duel. Okay, here comes the Succubus out. Wiggle. This is the power of the Succubus right here. Seduces full Shadow Bolt here. Wiggle goes into Berserker stance, gets the intercept off, charges, puts the hamstring down, but he's at half HP. He's on the back foot. The grenade is going to connect onto Wiggle, and then immediately Death Coil. You know what's smart about that, you guys? I want to talk about that just a little bit. Prevents the Shadow Reflector. Prevents the Shadow Reflector. That from Zella is going to miss there. But honestly, I think at this point he can just let the dots tick down, siphon life, and immolate, and I think he wins this one with the Succubus just beating away at Wiggle. He's playing it really safe, kiting away from Wiggle the whole time to avoid any excess damage. But yeah, I really like that play. He doesn't even know necessarily if he has to worry about the Reflector, but what that grenade does is it allows for him to not have to worry about the Reflector at all, which is a really nice thing. You never know when those are just gonna, run amok in the duel and totally determine the outcome here. Armageddon versus turn, two very good rogues, and good rogues at that. Gouge coming down from turn on Armageddon, just building up his energy and just kind of controlling the flow of combat just a little bit. Armageddon on the back foot, but you never know when rogues just going to burst you down from full. If Armageddon blinds here, that's his win condition. The full kidney shot comes down, no chance. Turn was able to pretty much control that fight from the start. And there wasn't a lot of room for outplay. But you do see that with rogues where, like, they have 1 HP and they can, like, win a duel with that. Ravka, just so much burst, mate. I only saw the ass end of that duel, but there was just so much burst. So much potential from those Warlocks. Didn't even feel pressured. They did not need to use the Voidwalker bubble there. But, man, it's a scary thing. When all those spells come down and if the Shadowburn ends up critting, it can be really tough. Here we have nice, Proteus versus Hejong here. I really like seeing this particular duel because it's a battle of legendaries. Who doesn't like the battle of the legendaries? Proteus already low values of mana. I think that's going to mean Hejong has the advantage on this one. Concussive Blow goes down. You only see 2 Sundered stacks on a Proteus right now, but he's still doing plenty of damage. I'm still of one to say, I bet you. And I'll have a damage meter for the next one, guys. I have one. I just gotta like enable it and such. Could have prepared just a little better. But I would have loved to see the damage of the Thunderfury throughout the night. I'm willing to bet that's like 20 to 40% of his damage some fights when that really gets to proccing, because that it's like a saw blade, mate. It's a saw blade. Oh, the Holy Nova actually gets the priest out of fear. The fear comes down, but Psychic Extreme instantly is going to get trinketed. The rogue opens up onto the priest. The powered shield is going to get cycled. Priest just trying to do what they can. They're very vulnerable at this point. They're going to Holy Nova. They're just going for the heal. Look how much it actually heals. Like, it actually isn't bad. It's very, very expensive for mana, but it's really not like the worst instant cast source of damage. I've seen some pretty neat things with like Power Infusion, Holy Shield. That it's actually. Sorry, yeah, not Holy Shield. Power Infusion, Holy Nova. Power Infusion, Holy Nova. Really neat spec. Actually more potent than you'd maybe think right off the bat on paper. Versus melee. Versus, you know, when they're feeling pressured. Yeah, actually pretty neat combo. Do I think Shadow still has more potential 1v1? Sure, maybe. But I really like the Power Infusion, Holy Nova plays. And the disc style of priest where you're like about those strong bubbles, and so you have the stun resistance and other really neat things for duels. It's going to be, this is tough. If Hejong wins this one, I will be surprised. Aether versus Hejong, the mage matchup, it doesn't feel good. You almost, he trinkets out of the slow, closes the distance at the right time. Instantly there's going to be a blink coming out from the mage. If he had a concussive blow, Intimidating Shout allows him to close the distance a little bit more. He does get the hamstring onto the mage, so if there was any sort of health gain, maybe the mage was out of stuff at the time. But that's really tough. That's sometimes comes down to just rock, paper, scissors style of matchup. Alright, this is going to be Proteus versus a Wiggle. Wiggle, buddy from the stream here, since the start of the server's life here. Did a little PvP with him in the phase 2. Let's see if he can pull this one out. I think the Paladin has the edge in Warrior versus Paladin matchup in most cases, just because their raw heal potential and reset potential. He puts the Blessing of Freedom on himself, so there's no hamstring shenanigans. See, this is where you're seeing, this is lovely to see. You're seeing the Paladin needs to... much like the Warrior hamstring kiting, the Paladin's doing that in a sense with Blessing of Freedom. He's trying to kite out of Wiggle's range because Wiggle doesn't have a two-hander. He's dual wielding, so he's trying to do constant damage and stay in range, where the Paladin's Blessing of Freedom trying to get out of range with each melee swing, dancing in and out of combat fluidly, or in and out of range fluidly, trying to gain the upper hand. The full Hodge comes down onto Wiggle. Wiggle's doing a lot of damage. Proteus is feeling pressured right now, but he's playing the way he needs to play to win this one. I think the difference in this matchup comes down to the self-heals sometimes, especially when you have tools like the Hodge and you get a free heal, the Repentance if you're that deep ret and then you get a free heal. Wiggled in the executable range, but Proteus is nearly as well. There's the Blessing of Protection. And here comes the big Hammer of Wrath, and it is going to be enough to finish it off. He knows he doesn't need to waste his actual bubble. He knows that he can just do this. He's fighting a physical DPS, so he can just, it seems simple, but it's nice to see those little things. And maybe it was because the other was on cooldown, but either way, I like the idea of utilizing that when you're versus a purely physical damage dealer and you don't have dots on you, so you can heal yourself up without worry. Even if you had dots on you, it wouldn't really matter unless you were going for the bandage play. But I really like that. It's those little things. It's those little things you like to see in the duel. Here is going to be our Warlock friend versus Hejong here. Hejong has the dots on him, but you already saw the Warlock felt like, hey, I'm going to pop this Voidwalker bubble. I don't like how pressured I'm feeling right now. I think their Death Coil might have gotten resisted. I didn't see Hejong fly at any point. The fear comes down, but instantly he's going to be trinketed, so he does have, that is on CD now, so if another fear comes out, he's in good position. Warlock potentially trying to summon a new Voidwalker, but there is no time. Hejong just pressuring our Warlock friend. I think it might have came down to either no Death Coil or Death Coil resisting, one of the two. And man, I need to get something to help tell me when a reflector play actually happened, because you don't always catch those little things. There was no coil that one, and that can make all the difference, I think, honestly. That cooldown's massive. It's only 2 minutes, but it's massive. It really is. The Rogue fighting the Priest here. Seems like the Priest has the upper hand, but it's just getting started. The Rogue could easily pressure down this Priest. The full kidney shot's going to come down. Rav get down to about half HP, Terran down to about 60% HP, whittling him down just a little bit. The Holy Nova comes out, tries to heal himself back up. The heal does get interrupted. No fake cast comes out. Just tries to gamble, though. It's a gambling game, and we like to gamble. There's the fear. This is opportunity. If we don't see a trinket, and it's probably on CD, he's running to Narnia right now. If he pulls a turtle, that's bad news bear. But he did not pull a turtle. He gets back into re-stealth. He tries to close the distance. The Priest is going to heal himself back up. They cycle the powered shield. The weakened soul fades, so they are able to use that twice if they want to. No, not going for any mana play. He says, hey, open back up on me. No Nova. They're going to open up with a cheap shot. It's instantly going to get trinketed. The Rogue down to about 40% HP. Not much energy left. The Psychic Stream is here again. Man, it fades. It fades pretty quickly here, but the Rogue knows he needs to reset. He doesn't have a Vanish, but there's a Blind Blast and then a Smite. The Psychic Stream feels like it was back-to-back Psychic Streams. He Psychic Streamed him. He ran far away. By the time he closed the distance again, opens up with a cheap shot, and it gets trinketed, it's already over. The Psychic Stream is going to come back up again, and he just sends him away again. And in good directions. It was basically the perfect range. For those fears, because it was in range for him to do things like Smite. There was a point where he was at max distance and he wasn't able to get off a spell, but by then he could just renew, heal himself up. Importantly, it's big in these matchups. Let that weakened soul kind of fade so you can double up on the powered shields. That's fucking massive, being able to do things like that. That's why in duels you really, sometimes, I'm sure we've all been in that duel where the mage tries to double Ice Barrier. They Ice Barrier, wait 30 seconds, then start the duel. You see that sometimes with priests too, where they'll cycle the powered shield, wait for duels to start, and they have double weakened soul. And it's just such a fucking huge advantage to have to plow through 2 of those. I always try to give that the partner the courtesy of cycling that like right as the duel starts and taking a swig of water. Not that I saw that here at all. It just made me think of it because you see that. Once again, didn't see it here, but okay, this is Turn versus Hejong, and this is where I think the Thunderfury truly shines. Is melee. Man, melee. Prot Warriors just become the bane of melee, mate, when they have that fucking weaponry. I only saw Hejong lose in the 2 times we've done these events, duels versus melee, just a couple of times that I can recall. It's their deep prot was always a pain for melee, because it took them so long. There's so much mitigation. Yeah, backstabs for 200s, bro. It's so bad, like you're not really hitting for what you're used to. You fight a mage and you're just like, yes, this is awesome. You catch him out of you catch him with the stun, you gouge their blink, and you close the distance again. An interesting thing, I fight Kim Possible out on this server, and he's one of the few rogues that risks cheap shots for a gouge play, and he pulls it off a lot, actually. I'm gonna shoutcast this and come back to this duel. Armageddon versus Proteus. The Vanish comes down from Armageddon. The Consecration is gonna go down, and you gotta wonder if that's almost like a rank 1 potentially. Oh, hot. Oh, yeah, my man, dude. The duel started, but he saved the day. It was a different duel, but either way, coming through. Hero of the Alliance he is. This is Turn versus Grenton right now. Rogue closes the distance, gets the gouge off, controls the flow of combat, gets his energy levels back up just a little bit. Full dots going down onto Turn. The Voidwalker Sacrifice is going to get blown through immediately. The Kidney Shot, full duration, comes out. It stops. The Healthstone comes out. The dots get put back onto Turn. The gouge comes down, controlling that flow of combat once again. Has a couple of combo points, but will it be enough with the Eviscerate? He needs to do it now, but Shadowburn comes off and finishes him off. He just didn't have enough combo points to end that one. He had the Kidney Shot. He burned through the Voidwalker Sacrifice, but just not quite enough oomph that time. Maybe not enough crits. Proteus versus Armageddon here. Armageddon looking to be in a good position. The full Kidney Shot comes down. He does have the Blessing of Freedom, so he can walk away potentially. No crippling poisons, but he's going to need a Hodge. There, Hodge comes down. Full heal comes out. Feeling it about half HP, about half mana approximately. Tries to heal again. Is able to land it. Gouge comes down. Maybe just a little bit of batching there. Who knows? Something we all faced. While Paladin running. Oh, that Consecration came really close to hitting him. Really close to hitting him. He tries to drink up. Instantly gets opened up on. It's not going to be a crit maneuver. It's just going to be a stun maneuver. Not going for the ambush. Going for the stun play. I like that. Knowing he has a good chance of landing on this human friend. Both players at about similar HP values. Now the Paladin is getting lower on mana. The Gouge comes down for the combo point and instantly going to put down that Kidney Shot to try to land some damage, getting behind the Paladin and see him kite, trying to avoid some of those melees. The Repentance comes down from the Ret Paladin, which is big. It's actually big, and you are able to actually bandage back up to full. That didn't last a tremendous amount of time though. CCing the Paladin just a little bit. I don't know if that was a scuffed blind. I had to pay attention to that a little better, or just a gouge bandage. But either way, he utilizes that opportunity to try to heal himself back up. Rogue trying to run away and re-stealth. Paladin in a very comfortable health total. He can just drink. That's my lad, dude. He's playing to his win condition, and it's just a long game. If this Rogue, oh my God, great minds think alike. I hope Proteus isn't necessarily listening or using it to know, but our Rogue friend, I won't say which turtle he's in, but our Rogue friend is hiding in a turtle eating right now. Now, it might be I don't know if he's invis or not, but I don't know if he's invis or not. I was thinking it the second I saw a turtle. I'm like, dude, I would so hide in a turtle and eat. He might be stealth. I don't know if he's stealth 8. We're going to pretend he didn't and he's hiding in a fucking turtle right now. Proteus gets full mana. The duel is going to restart once again. Who knows where the rogue could be? They could be anywhere. They could be in a turtle still. Nope, psych. The open back up on him with the chief shot. Yeah, 1/3 HP taken instantly. The Blessing of Freedom comes out, so he's able to kite in and out of range with that the weapon-handed, the two-handed weapon damage just a little bit better. Try to kite around with that, not let the rogue get full damage. The rogue puts it on the kidney shot and just says, hey, I'm going to get full damage anyway. Paladin getting very low. He needs to heal himself. He casts the Hodge again. All their cooldowns are coming back up slowly but surely. Maybe not vanished yet. Hodge comes down. He heals himself back up. He has so much mana to work with again. But Armageddon Gouge buys time. Actually, he's going to trinket out of it immediately. Might have been a stun there. I'm not actually sure. I missed that. But he trinkets out of it. Crippling Poison's been applied. Repentance again! Does he have a bandage? No, it's probably... And if he does, he just opts for the Holy Light play anyway. He has the mana for it. He knows Armageddon is in a very vulnerable slot. He knows he doesn't have some of his major tools like the Vanish, like the Preparation available to him. So he feels confident in closing that one out. Good duel. That was really fun one to cast. Let's see which matchup we see here. I want to listen to a song I listened to earlier.
Could you ever forget of me?
Here we have Wiggle versus Ravka. Wiggle feeling very vulnerable right now. Power Shield cycled. Priest feeling very sturdy. Cycles the Shadow Word Pain and just confidently starts closing this one out with Smite. Simple, sweet, but effective. Puts the Renew back on. Might have even been a desperate prayer, giving them that little bit of extra sturdiness they needed. Wiggle actually doing a lot of damage right now. Power Shield coming out, but damn, as soon as I said that and the HP starts going down, the Renew starts sticking away and really adding up, and Wiggle's potential for victory diminishes. I would have loved to be wrong once again, but it's funny. Sometimes I start to call a duel and I start to call someone in the favor. Oh my, are we going to see it again? He potions back up. Maybe even Whipper Tubers, I'm not sure. Ravka's getting very low. If he had like an intimidating shout, bandage, or anything just to eat. There's the intimidating shout. Oh my god, dude. I shouldn't have tried to call it so early. Wiggle breaks through the power and shield and actually does get them into executable range. You can't count. I need to learn that even when those look grim and it's so close to being over, it's not always. And Warrior just needs to get a few extra hits, get their opponent down to execute range, a couple of critical strikes, and before you know it, boom, execute. Very good duel. I started calling it early, and I need to do that less because there's been twice in the past 2 days where I almost slow down my casting. I'm like, what can they do? It's over. And then they do that very thing I didn't think they could do. So good duel. Rogue versus Paladin here. Proteus versus Turn. The cheap shot comes down. He puts Blessing of Freedom so he can kite out of range. Gouge comes down, allowing the Rogue to just keep controlling things here just a little bit, trying to get their energy back. Hodge comes down onto the Rogue. They have their full energy. Proteus healing himself back up, feeling really good at about 70%, 69% health. Giggity. Another Gouge comes down, but it doesn't last for very long. Repentance down onto Turn. Here we see another Holy Light. Not even going to necessarily feel pressured enough to go for the bandage play. Not feeling pressured enough with his mana pool. Feeling very confident. Oh my goodness, oh, it gets him with the Consecrate, baby. This is still really good. This is still really good. He forced the Rogue to now sprint away and re-stealth versus the Rogue. If he didn't get caught, that Consecrate was fast reaction. And I'd love to know actually if it was rank 1, then you get the 200 IQ play of the day too, because that's really what you want to do. He closed the distance. He uses perception. He finds the dwarf Yeah, Rogue, right out Invis. Kidney shot goes down on Proteus. It's not done yet, though. Turn still might be able to pull this one out, even though Proteus is playing really well. And he does. Turn says, it is my turn to win, and he takes that one. Proteus plays that one well. He did a couple things I really liked. He not only puts the Consecration down, finding the Rogue out of the Vanish, allowing himself just that little bit of time to do what he wanted to do. Whether it was heal up, bandage, any of those things. But he actually went for the offensive play, which I respect. Sometimes you just got to be offensive, and he goes to find the Rogue. He pretends to drink with one swig, has that perception going, and he finds the Rogue. Well fucking done. Perception's way better in Classic now. I don't think he would have found him without it. And maybe he did, and I just assume it was up, but he found him from a good 5 paces away. Alright, Turn versus Wiggled here. He puts the kidney shot down onto Wiggled. Wiggled really on the back foot here right now, but I'm not going to count him out until it's over. The intimidating shout comes out. He goes for the offensive play, baby. No bandage, no anything else. He just goes for the big damage. Didn't pay off this time, but it could have. You never know when all of a sudden those crits are just going to pop, 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 pop. I think he has some daggers now, actually. Yeah, that's not... hell yeah. Wiggled, your gear's come a long way since I feel like I saw you play last. I'm game. Hey, well, yeah, let's do that. Let's do it. Let's bring my mage out here. I love Grobulus. Okay.
You better run from me. You better hit the road. You better up and leave. Don't get too close. 'Cause I'm a rolling stone.
Let's get some summons, summon food here.
You better run from me before I take your soul. If I go, let me go. Don't you follow me, let me go. I will let you down, let me go. Even if your heart can't take it, light me up and fly. You better run from me. You better say goodbye. And even if I bleed, don't waste your time. 'Cause I'm a broken home. You better overload.
Which says better versus Thunderfury Warrior? Do I want to gamble Freezing Band stats? I think I'm going to go with the health. Because ideally I'm not going to let him get many melees in.
Allow me to express my deepest thanks.
Shield wall just burn this time. I just want to control. Good duel, man. Good duel. God, it's beautiful. It actually is, Warren, because you never know when you're just going to start to get zapped. It literally legit just comes down to the rock, paper, scissors, but that shit's going to get really scary. A lot of Wrath. Does Wrath have as much resistance on it as far... Yeah, it still does. Shadow, Arcane, Fire. 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 Oh, that's Mayan. I couldn't remember if Terra 2 did as well. Performance on Ice Block? Yes, buddy. Yeah, buddy. More rounded resist? Okay, good to know. Good to know. It feels like that is so important with tanking too, really, to actually have some level of resist for all the time, in like any raid. So I was like, fuck, does Tier 1 have more? Because Tier 1's always thematic for having some really good resist. Wiggle versus Proteus here. Wiggle, oh, holy shit, Wiggle does a lot all of a sudden when you least expect it. It feels very road-like, and it probably just comes down to the oh, the Hammer of Wrath misses! It's, oh, so close. I think the Hammer of Wrath actually flew past his feet there. I'd definitely do more duels. Might favors fire. Okay. I actually didn't know. That makes sense because it's thematic with MC. Like you gear up, you gain that fire resistance, and then after some weeks, that's ideally when Blizzard had intended you to down Ragnaros when the game first came out. Now we're just all power gamers, so we just are like, ah. Tank still needs fire resist for sure, but you can get it almost through like green sets and stuff. Let's do it.
Does anyone need any help over there?
See if we can force out the ice block. Fake casted. I'm gonna just... I can do it again. That's important. I'm burning time right now.
Does anyone need any help over there?
No time. That was the last time I could have. Reflected as well. Can I get another one off? I'm trying to burn time. I'm trying to burn time. Come on. Yes! No, the DR didn't happen! No, I don't want to lose this one. Come on. Come on, Polly. He's wasted everything. Yes! I can do this. I wasted Cold Snap. I want to win. This is what Mage is all about, baby. It's not pretty, but when you're on the back foot... Can I get it? Oh, resist! That sucks so much. Nope. I don't have bandages! Oh, that was my last bandage, dude! Oh no! Oh no, 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 no! This is bad. This is over, I think, for me. Oh! Oh! Oh, dude, I wanted that bandage so bad, mate. Good duel, friend. The impact stun was so big there. I almost outlasted him. That was a really fun duel, mate. Fuck, I can't believe how unprepared I was. Good duel, friend. Whew. That got the adrenaline going. That was fun. Okay, do a little of that. Let's get some resources. I know our road friend wanted to duel too. I'm super down. Dragon Slayer buff, no big deal. Where's that horde buddy when I need him? Wipe it. Oh shit. Good duel, mate. Mage resets such an annoying thing. When I would cast those henhouse dueling tournaments, people sometimes in chat, there's always good mages there that were always resetting, because you're always gonna have a there's always gonna be someone that gets the better opener and they're aggressor for that fight, and so like the mage on the back foot, their name of the game is either they get lucky crits, get a good silence, or they reset. And sometimes in dueling tournaments, people are like, you're resetting mages, and it's like, dude, that's part of the that's part of the yeah, the mage. Yeah, that is very true. The MCS is so fucking strong. I think MCS is actually I should have the advantage. Like, that's 100% the better spec versus a caster. But hey, well, the things we do for farm, the things we do for raid. Let's let Icy Block come back off of cooldown, and we'll watch this fight here. Oh no, the corruption is on him, but so is the seduction, so there's not as much time for some of those other... I feel you there, dude. I've been farming like a mad lad here. Just trying... I had 11 gold the other day, and I was like... So I spent like 2 days on fire elementals and water elementals and farming herbs, and it was so much fun, but it's like... Yeah, it's not optimal gold per hour compared to dungeons, but it's so much more fun. Yeah, Hejong actually closed the distance and has potentially the upper hand here. The Seduce comes out, but there's too many dots on him. He's going to be broken instantly. He's yelled down to executable range, and he is going to finish him off. Oh, thanks for the 5 bandages, by the way. I'm such a schmuck. I used them all with my PvP stream last night. And thanks for the 6 bandages. I'll put those good use, Wiggle. I was such a schmuck. I used all my supplies in the last PvP stream. I didn't even think to restock before I started here tonight. Almost have Ice Block. I'd duel our rogue friend. Take care. Take care. I'm Sneaky Turtle. I don't need the trinket. Let's switch trinkets. Oh, I didn't even bring half of them. Wow. Skilled mage. Oh, we'll go with the power then. I was farming, so I didn't bring them all with me when I was farming last time. Alright, turn. Let's do this. I'll refresh Ice Barrier here as soon as the duel starts. Alright. duel, man. I love dueling events like this. We've had kind of stuff like this in the past couple of days with the Horde side. Just organically, where a bunch of them came out to duel, and a lot of them new faces from the stream, just saying like, you know, at first coming out to, and battling me, and then yeah, hell yeah, let's do it again. And then slowly more and more gathered, and before you know it, it's a little bit of a dueling event. So it's nice to do that with Alliance as well. Well, I actually didn't even have armor. Reset that. If he doesn't have, oh, the poor lad, if he doesn't have Vanish up. The Rogue vs Mage matchup can be very cooldown driven. For the Mage too, like if the Rogue has Blind and I don't have Ice Block, I'm in trouble. And let's see if we can get a grenade here. I'm not gonna Arcane Missiles. I'm just trying to avoid getting gouged here. I'm trying to turn my back to the Rogue almost. There's really no rush to finish it off. I don't need to do all these long casts. Oops, good duel. Oh, I didn't mean to laugh at. Yeah, it is. True, very true. I don't mind dueling without really. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, shit. I should have gotten full mana. I fucked up. I almost get 7 seconds of free barrier, though. Oh, very greedy of me. Very greedy of me. This is going to be a nice duel, though. Can I get that Frostbolt off? Oh, fucking turtle. Here, I'll let that turtle fade or someone grab it. There's what I need to do. Oh, bastard turtle. He's plucking away. He's playing this one right. Oh, it's up again? Almost advantage. Come on, this is scary. Okay, okay. Tick eating. One more tick. Oh my god, no way, dude! want to forfeit. No, I tried to cold snap and then ice barrier because I was fucking for a second. Oh, good fight, mate. Ooh, that's actually not a bad offhand. I kind of panicked too. I was like, oh, 3 seconds until I lose. I was like, oh shit. Good duel, man. I wish I could slash GD. Ooh, that got the adrenaline going too, mate. I tried to cold snap ice barrier, and I didn't get that. I didn't click the ice barrier in time. It was so close. That was a fucking close duel. Sorry, you're saying being Fury Pro sucks for duels, mate.
Does anyone need any help over there?
Hey, Romanowski, Big Roman. Thanks for the host, man. Welcome everybody from Roman's chat. Just doing some just duels here to wind down the dueling event. This is when you know things are. That's you know when you're winding down. When this is the mashup. That's when the clothes are coming off. That's when you know, mate. In the left-hand corner, we have Red Shirt McGee wielding Soul for Us. And Armageddon coming out strong, looking good on the beach. Both players did not skip leg day. Opens up with the sap, goes into. Oh god! There's so much damage coming out. Rogue can duel naked. Paladin can't duel naked. Rogue can duel naked. They have those. You sometimes see that. Hell, we've seen it from White Grape on Ferlina, where he's taken down some of his pirate friends that are reasonably good duelers, and they have the gear, and he's won on multiple occasions with just level 40 epic dagger, the Gut Ripper, and then one other like blue dagger. Absolutely insane, mate. It's sickeningly strong. Wiggle trying the same thing, but I don't think anybody can outmatch a naked rogue, honestly. I don't think anybody can outmatch a naked rogue, mate. I hope you had a good stream, Roman. We had a little bit of an event tonight, just a Thunderfury dueling event where Hejong took it, mate. It was pretty. I don't want to say one-sided, but it was pretty much in his favor, and I'll tell you why. Partially, I think I was glad both these players had differentiating specs, because I think part of it was the spec, you know, and it made sense. Each player was a spec they were. Not that you don't see Prot Warriors and Free Prot Warriors on either side, either faction, but our Horde friend came out with Fury Prot. Our Alliance friend is Deep Prot. Well, our Fury Prot friend is just as geared, and he couldn't penetrate the armor and the talent spread of the Alliance Warrior. It was so fucking strong. It was really neat to see the spec differential and the strength differential. I think Prot has the edge. Versus the Fury Prot counterpart in the mirror matchup. I do. And it was neat to see that, because on paper, I wouldn't have guessed that necessarily. You always think, oh, Prot Warrior, oh, that's, you know. And this is a boxing match coming out here. You know, interesting to see Wiggled actually get beaten so badly from the Paladin. Like, is there a gear differential? No, just both shirts. But holy shit, the Paladin still had half HP, so you can tell he's definitely more of a brawler. Probably, maybe does this in the spare time in Goldshire. You never know with threat paladins. Oh, spells. Dude is saying Fury Prot flavor of the month defeated. Yeah, it was pretty handily. I'm not downplaying the potential skill level of our Horde friend. In fact, that's the first time I've seen him duel by any means. But our Alliance Warrior friend had the edge. And most of the duels were in his favor by at least 50 to 70% health. So